Croeso I sianel Blaid Llwyd. It's the third Echo Project video in a row. Yes, we're back with Interea. I know I said I was going to do Dawn Chorus this weekend, but Interea came out earlier than I was expecting, and in a quick vote of people who watch this channel, those who voted were overwhelmingly in favour of doing Interea today. So Dawn Chorus fans, don't worry, that will be out on a Tuesday or Wednesday depending on your time zone. I'll definitely get that done. And also for next weekend, we'll be having more from London's Aesop. There's a new update due out, I think Monday on that, so we'll definitely have that for next weekend. So a few things to look forward to. But now let's carry on with Amicus. This is where we left off last time. On our way to the sights here, I look back at the forest. It's then that I remember what had happened before I'd fallen asleep. Wait, did you know Cass and Alex are coming?
Ah, yes, that was a bit of a last-minute addition to the plan. I don't know if Cass's schedule would be free when we departed, and it turns out it was.
I mean, that's fine. I just think it's weird they'll bring along the guy that tried to kill everyone. I'm kind of exaggerating, but Alex's partially successful plan to destabilize Adastra is one of the main reasons life here was so difficult.
Wait a moment, how did you find out? I booked him a suite in the city. They're to meet with us at the university.
I frown. The fairy who told you about me swimming to the island, but not how we caught Alex building a communication device again?
No.
Man, the fairy's got weird priorities these days.
Wait, what is this about Alex building a communication device?
Well, we overheard Cassius talking about building a plant tech device. Alex built one here last time because the signals were out of range for interception, right?
Oh, that little shit eye!
Amicus suddenly stops and takes a deep breath. It's like he's deeply pondering something.
Well, I may actually have to kill him.
Huh? Amicus continues walking towards the sightseer, though his jovial mood from earlier is completely gone.
Well, I can't believe he'd make me do this after I gave him an undeserved second chance at life.
Wait, are you serious? You're going to execute him? Suddenly the idea that Alex's actions could actually lead to deadly consequences is, well, disturbing. It would make sense, but I just can't imagine him being off like that, with Amicus being the one responsible for it. Then Amicus sighs again.
No, I probably should. I know my father would have. As an emperor, I'm obligated to seek justice for my people. Which will be the end of that cat and any relation with the Morva. But I am shifting our diplomacy toward a more Khemian style. And executing diplomats, no matter how justified, is simply not how it's done. Relations with the cats is already strained as it is.
I think you should just deport him.
Oh, I would, you know that. It's all the more complicated with Cassius in the mix.
Amicus finally lowers me into the sightseeing and we begin to float across the lake. So I thought he was doing social work in the poorer towns and cities.
We managed to sync our schedules in Lux, so he'll be accompanying us just for the first part of our journey. He's still popular in Lux, so the vision of him by my side could be rather advantageous. After that, we'll part ways.
So how is Alex going to fit into all of this? Doesn't the public know what he did?
Well, Cass says that emphasizing that Alex is his pet will play into the narrative the saboteur was conquered.
I thought you got rid of the pet system.
Oh, just another degree being held back by Cass's antics. It'll be abolished as soon as that damn cat is out of the way. Perhaps that's just rid us of the problem of surprise Lux with the public execution. They still enjoy such spectacle in that region, you know.
I think I'm starting to see why Neferu didn't tell Amicus about Alex. I tried to shift the conversation to a lighter tone, though. I don't think you'd execute him, even if you weren't changing the diplomatic style of Adastra.
Oh? Are you implying that I'm soft?
Well, I just think you remember when Alex was your friend and that stays your hand. Besides, I poke him in the stomach. You are soft.
Humph.
He grunts and seems about to say something, then awkwardly looks away at the palace. You're right.
I am.
Then he takes a breath like he always does for talking about something that's bothering him.
Speaking of pets, remember that your role has changed and you should consider yourself to be an equal amongst the siblings.
Okay. I narrow my eyes, not sure exactly where this is going.
Optics are a very large part of politics. Perhaps you should consider carrying yourself in a more formal way compared to when we are in private.
I mull that over for a moment. Then I feel my face get all hot. I realise that Amicus is telling me not to embarrass him with the PDA. I instinctively want to become defensive, tell Amicus that this is just another one of his issues, but no, this really is an important part of politics. It's an important part of life, actually. I can't just haphazardly plant kisses and rub Amicus's body in public like that. I mean, I think I already would have known this, but it's an odd thing to hear Amicus say it. I clear my throat, hoping I don't look as red as I feel. Oh yeah, of course, I remember my formal stance. I clasp my hands in front of me.
When we arrive at our Imperial Villas, it'll be different. You can do whatever you like to me then.
Yeah, definitely. My failure to banter back like usual isn't lost on Amicus, and the silence becomes awkward, something that doesn't happen very often these days. I'm not sure why I feel so deflated. I suppose it could be because I didn't really process the fact until now that this could be a glimpse into my future life with Amicus. Lots of formalities. I'd accepted this fact months ago, along with the fact that it's very likely I won't ever feel at home. Both on Adastra and on Earth.
Oh, I'm sorry if I said something foolish again. It's just that with politics you must think of both.
No, you're fine. It's a time and place sort of thing. It's just... well, I hope I'm able to do things right and I don't screw up and embarrass you somehow.
Tibor, if you manage to embarrass me half as much as I embarrass myself, I'll be genuinely impressed.
I think Amicus is underestimating my abilities. Well, I'd like to not embarrass you at all. You already have enough to worry about without me causing problems with stuff like optics. I honestly should probably stay in the villa until you finish all the important stuff. I'm genuinely trying to offer a realistic solution, but I can't help but feel it's coming off as bitter. Amicus clearly thinks the same.
Well, listen, we didn't go to hell and back only for you to then be hidden away like a bad secret. You're important, and not only to me, but all of Adastra. Public gaffes are not enough to change that.
We finally reach the shore at that moment. Amicus helps me out of the craft. Alright, but you know, in Adastra history they talked about a few emperors that couldn't adjust the formalities of the position and abdicated, or even descended into insanity and became mad kings. Are you doing alright?
Oh, please, Tibor, my mind is not so weak that I cannot handle the duties expected of me since birth. And are you referring to Emperor Lucius, the one that married and divorced every week so he's too impotent to bear children?
Amicus laughs loudly and I just stare at him. Okay, first of all it has nothing to do with weakness, and if you do feel like you're crumbling under the pressure, tell me. Promise me that. My tone brings Amicus' bravado crashing down like I hoped it would.
Yes, of course. We're just trying to add a touch of levity.
Secondly, yes, I was talking about Lucius. And yes, he was real self-conscious about his dick not working, to the point that he revived execution by immolation to punish anyone he thought might have mentioned it.
Oh yes, I believe anything phallic was enough to send him into a rage.
It's a very Adastran story.
Though I do not remember mention of deaths by burning. Perhaps you're confusing his era with an earlier one?
I open my mouth to deny that I am, then I remember that I'd heard that particular piece of information in the Khemian rebuttal. Maybe. Either way, my earlier statement stands.
Of course. I feel that maybe this also applies to you in that you're feeling a bit under pressure at the moment.
I sigh. A little. I'm representing all of humanity, after all. Amicus puts his arm around me as we walk toward the palace.
Trust me, this will all become easier once you've experienced your first day. You'll just become a bit boring after that.
I prefer boring these days.
Oh, me too.
I can tell we're running pretty late, even as Amicus takes his time getting ready, including fitting in another shower that he pulls me into. He assures me that because of the semi-formal nature of the trip, the schedule isn't all that strict. Of course, that doesn't really matter when others are waiting for us. Others like Virginia. She stares at us as we walk up to her. The automatic carriage sits behind her, the pharaoh casually slouched in the front, busying himself with his tablet. As we come to a stop in front of her, Amicus keeps his arm around me, still in good spirits. Virginia seems to work her jaw for a moment before speaking. You are impressively late this time, Amicus. Almost an hour, in fact.
Oh, sorry, Virginia. Unforeseen circumstances dictated that I take a dip in the lake. I then determined that being late was worth washing and grooming myself, so I may be presentable.
Just get in the carriage, Amicus.
Of course, dearest sister. How have you been lately? We've not had a moment to catch up today.
I would have kicked Amicus if we'd been seated at a table. Virginia just eyes her brother up and down before turning away and climbing into the carriage herself. Today I've been reminded that most things are not worth it, brother.
Oh, fantastic.
Amicus hops into the carriage and offers a paw to me, pulling me up while at the same time the carriage begins to move. His tactics to antagonize you begin to succeed, Virginia. That's not like you at all. It depends on the day, Neferu, though I must admit those particular days are becoming more frequent. I glance up at Amicus, who just continues smiling, running his blunt claws through my hair. While I understand and usually side with Virginia when it comes to Amicus's behaviour and lack of punctuality, I do sometimes like it when he's able to counter a dour mood with an overly positive one. We ride in silence for a while, content to just take in the scenery. About halfway there, Neferu turns around. Did you tell Amicus what we discovered on the island, Tibor? Amicus lets out a slow breath, his content mood dissipating with it. I'll take that as a yes. Why didn't you tell him? Because he explodes on the topic of Alex. Have you decided what to do?
No.
Well, you do have an advisor. Kill him. I'm sorry. Kill him. The cat has done more than enough to deserve it. Not a public execution, mind you, but rather an accident. I go what Virginia just said in my mind, not really sure if I'm understanding correctly. This would at least deprive a Morph of one excuse for war. And if you truly feel you have no options in terms of deportation or imprisonment, I honestly recommend this route. It's asinine that you're allowing a dangerous spy to be so close to the Imperial family. It is dangerous for all of Adastra. I shift uncomfortably. While I knew Amicus hadn't been serious before, Virginia seems to be deadly serious right now. Meanwhile, Amicus doesn't react much at all, continues to stare at the back of the bench in front of us while he goes on stroking my hair. The way you speak of death so callously for someone we know is quite unsettling. Nefer, while I thank you for alerting me to the issue, I am not in the mood for a lecture on the superiority of Khemian morality today. The bigger problem with that cat is going back to a Morpher eventually is all the knowledge he obtained during Adastra. Have you not heard rumours of what the cats are planning? They claim the parents to be malicious. Even Adastra never outright said such things. I'd never taken the time to think about it. I definitely would have assumed that Virginia would have wanted Alexios executed. But her idea echoes of something in the past I want to bring up, but I can't. It's a strange feeling, like I'm choosing to stay silent because it's not my place. But also that if I try to speak, I might not be able to. I also feel like we're being watched. This isn't a new feeling. It's something I've been experiencing for the past several months. In fact, it started at the university we're heading toward now. I try to force the image of a contorted statue to the back of my mind. I lean harder against Amicus. They are in political turmoil for the first time in the millennia. In my opinion, it is simply a necessary reckoning with their identity and values. They will return to the fold as a stronger people, and we will welcome them back. Which would be a mistake on the part of the parents. Just talk about the parents. When they know what the cats are capable of. Reminds me I'm under their control in so many ways, and right now I can feel it more than ever. I open my mouth, feeling the mechanical structure in my throat strain and protest, jammed as if it had stopped working. They have my voice. I know they're using that against me right now. I grip into Amicus's thigh and I hear him grunt, then shift to look at me.
Tibor, are you all right?
He says it in a low voice who won't interrupt Virginia and Neferu. I won't. Be silent! I won't! Amicus jumps and my voice makes an odd glitchy droning sound before seeming to kick back into working order.
What was that? Are you alright?
Yeah, sorry. Something's wrong with the throat machine the parent's stuck in me. It's working now, though. I look at Virginia. I just wanted to say I'm completely against killing Alex, and I'd rather you not talk about it in my presence. I noticed then I'm heaving for breath. I planned to say it in a calm, firm sort of way, but something was trying to stop me, and that's left me even more unsettled in assassination talk. A strange feeling hangs in the air, not just the one caused by my awkward, glitched-out outburst. Rather, something feels different, like I've broken away from something, like I've steered my way off a road I've been stuck on. It's like this wasn't meant to happen. It's like I'm free. Amicus, is your friend psychologically sound?
Of course he is.
Amicus takes a closer look at me.
You are alright, right? You said your throat modification is having issues.
I rub my throat, finally catching my breath, quickly nodding. Yeah. Sorry, everyone. Something got stuck and I really wanted to say something, so it kind of just exploded out. You really wanted to defend the cat?
Hey, enough of this. He just said he didn't want to be involved in this.
I just think we should consider who else plotted an assassination and made it look like an accident. It's a different situation, yeah. I think we're a bit better than him, or we can figure out a more peaceful way to solve this. Virginia keeps her eyes narrowed and doesn't say anything. I, for one, agree. I would also consider visiting the university archives to see if the parents will check your device. That sound was truly otherworldly. Yeah. Amicus just stares at me with concern for the rest of the ride, so we fall into a very uncomfortable silence. I don't mind, though. I'm roughly trying to figure out what the hell just happened and what exactly I should do next. Things stay awkward for the rest of the ride to the university. When we finally step inside, Cassius and Alex are already there, sitting in the main hall. Well, Cassius is laying down on a bench while Alex is standing next to a large creature, one I've never seen before. He's big, but so are most of the aliens I've seen. I know he's most likely our guide, the bear that Amicus mentioned earlier. If anything, his fashion gives him away as not being from Adastra. I don't know much about them or their culture. There's little mention of them in Adastra or history, probably because they never warred with the wolves. Makes me wonder if they have a lot in common. Alex is talking to him, and I can already tell the conversation is awkward if I can even hear what's being said. Or think of it this way. I am standing in a bed of nails surrounded by flames. I'm already in a painful position while being told I have the choice to leave it. Into a worse position. Is that really choice, or simply the manipulator using a poor situation as cover to claim that they gave you a choice?
Well, that isn't the actual choice now, is it?
The bear seems to notice our presence as we draw closer.
Your Imperial Majesty, it's an honour to meet you.
The bear bows low to the ground.
Oh, greetings. I presume you to be our guide. I was told your name earlier, but I seem to have forgotten in the day's chaos.
Not a problem. I'm Biani, and I will indeed be your tour guide.
Speaking of chaos...
During the exchange, Alex had been casually sliding away towards Cassius, who's still laying out on a bench.
Your little chaos lover seems to be up to his old ways, if he ever abandoned them in the first place, that is. Well, trying to turn him against the parents just before the trip. Ha!
Alexios freezes. He realises he's been addressed.
Shocking.
Excuse me, I'm simply presenting to you a thought experiment to better illustrate an idea.
Well, a topic for our first conversation, I think.
Alexios wisely chooses not to respond, instead walking away back towards Cassius. It's quiet for a moment. Biani's demeanour suddenly becomes dark.
I know you're already aware of this, but keep an eye on that cat. It's pure deception.
I plan to.
Anyway, is this Tibor? A pleasure to meet you as well.
Biani extends a paw in a way that's so familiar, I instinctively raise my hand. He then takes it and slowly but deliberately shakes it. If it weren't for him being overly careful with his movements, I wouldn't have even realised this is a handshake, and how strange it is that Biani seems to know about it. Amicus frowns at our exchange, unsure what to make of it.
It seems I need to work on that, judging by your reaction.
Eh?
It was handshake?
Well, I definitely need to work on it, but yes. The dominant form of physical greeting in Europe and a majority of Earth, from what I understand. Well, I thought you might know that, Amicus. Oh, well, I do know quite a bit about Earth, Europe, and Italy, though I must admit I've never been greeted in that way.
Amicus gives me a look. This is something I should have told him. It's pretty formal, not really something that friends do. How did you know about it, though, Bjarni?
Oh, shown to me during the briefing of this mission. Considering we are preparing to integrate humanity into our daily interactions, we thought it best to start the process with you. Well, actually, the program was set up by you, Your Majesty. Oh, right. Perhaps I should undergo these programs for implementing them. Well, you're very busy running the moon and all. Besides, having the first human on Adastra as your companion is quite a bit more useful than knowing the intricacies of handshaking. It is a nice advantage, yes.
Amicus pulls me against his side in a quick side hug. The human-style physical contact he's more familiar with. Amicus then shifts a gesture behind himself.
Anyway, this is my sister and advisor Virginia, and Neferu, the unofficial ambassador from Khemia, and Neferu's second son.
A pleasure. Greetings. There's a bit more small talk. It's clear that Bjarni actually finds Neferu more exotic than me, with a long tangent about the state of affairs on Khemia. Finally, though, Bjarni clears his throat.
Alright, let's begin the briefing. Just an overview of the itinerary along with the general specifics of each location, mainly for those of us who are not natives of the moon.
The bear fishes around his person, reaching into an unseen pocket and pulls out a tablet. Rather than a more common rod-style tablet, it's a type designed to act as a projector for more public demonstrations.
After discussions with the triumvirate and analyses of the current political situation, we've decided on visiting 3 locations. First, we shall visit the city of Lux. Officially, it is known as Adastra's frontier city in the harsh mountainous regions of the far north. Unofficially, it is known as the City of Defiance. Due to Cassius's popularity there and Amicus's general unpopularity, pardon me, Your Majesty.
Amicus waves his paw like it's not a problem for him to go on.
We thought it best to make it the main priority. Lux is the largest producer of natural resources on Adastra. A look at the history of the city shows that times of frequent protests, rioting and strikes, which would often disrupt industries all over Adastra, usually resulted in failed emperors. By visiting Lux first, we can show they are our number 1 priority. With Cassius present, he can play a role in winning more support for Amicus.
Bjarni pauses, glancing at Cassius, who seems to be staring out of the window. Alex subtly nudges him. Oh, yes, indeed.
Do you have a speech prepared, Cassius?
I do not need to prepare speeches, Amicus. Cassius points at his head. Unlike you, I know what they want, therefore the speech is already written. The question is if you will truly do what you want me to promise them. I will not lie to people who have already been deceived by emperors of old, and new. There's an awkward silence.
We'll talk more of this on the way there.
Bjarni clears his throat again.
Anyway, Lux has also requested we take one of their triumvirs with us, so they may play a role in talks with the regions of Adastra. Well, depend on his skill at Pugnu.
What?
It is not my place, but I advise some caution as the triumvir who has challenged you was once Pugnu champion of the province.
What, 30 years ago or so?
I see my feelings reflected in Virginia's posture. She has her face buried in one paw. Bjarni seems to be thinking, then says quickly,
Well, actually, if he's easily beatable, consider losing on purpose. There's no doubt that the loss, unless the loss of representation on the tour, will result in protests and riots. Moving on.
Amicus stutters over his words, but doesn't interrupt. After this briefing, I hope that I convince him to settle his political issue in a non-violent way.
From there we'll visit the city of Lupus, considered the cultural epicenter of Adastra. This is where you might play a role, Tibor.
I shift on the bench I'm seated on. Oh? I look at Amicus, frowning. He looks just as confused as me.
This is a bit last minute, but suggested by their triumvirate that seeing and hearing a human speak might help them adjust to the idea of future human contact.
Oh, yeah, of course, I could use some guidance on the speech, though.
Oh, never fear. Most of us do not have the gift of a flowing tongue like Cassius, therefore a speechwriter has already prepared your remarks.
That makes me feel better. I'm surprised when it's Neferu that speaks up. Forgive me for interrupting, but is that a wise decision? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that the centre of operations for the separatist movement currently gaining momentum? I've seen in demonstrations, while it is many imagery of myself being used to evoke their anger, Tibor's likeness is also being used.
Oh, really? I thought he was only anti-Khemian. I assume their feelings towards the primates is more cautious rather than hateful.
Well, it's not the separatists, rather a cult devoted to Wolven gods and Wolven supremacy. Well, let's not say there isn't a great deal of crossover, there is. The cultists appear too strange as separatist brands, they're kept separate. What? I'm clearly completely out of the loop. I feel like Amicus should have told me this. I look at him accusingly. Now his posture mirrors that of Virginia's not too long ago. Well, actually, I know it's not my place to say this, but I'd advise Tibor not to visit Lupus in its current state. This is the same cult that attempted to plant a bomb in the Forum, but botched it when the one doing the planting blew himself up. It's quiet for a moment. Then he adds, as if it's an afterthought, and they did burn an effigy of Tibor in the most recent demonstration. I look at Amicus again, but he whispers to me,
I'll speak in private after the briefing, all right?
I just nod, not sure what to think right now. Yarny clears his throat once again.
Well, that's all up to you and the Emperor, of course, though I will remind everyone that security will be airtight during the entire journey, so...
Another awkward pause.
Moving on. The last destination is Roti, Adastra's entertainment and resort city. This will be a moment to relax after work is done in the previous cities. Of course, this is also an opportunity to show the public your more sapient side, to remind them you are not a soulless robot.
Yarny puts away his tablet, then looks at us expectantly.
So those are our main goals for the next few weeks. Any questions?
When is departure?
In about 1 hour. It would have been about right now, but the delay is forced another security check. Apologies for that.
No, that's actually good. Amicus, Tibor, please discuss what we just heard so it will be sorted out before we leave.
All right, this way, Tibor.
I stiffly follow the wolf down the hallway until it seems out of earshot.
I think this is private enough.
I guess. Why does it need to be private?
Well, Virginia likely just doesn't want to hear it, and I know you prefer privacy when the conversation's about you.
But it's about my duties, right?
You have no duties, Tibor. Just opportunities if you so wish to take them.
I mean, I think you're obligated to do some things.
But not if it endangers your life.
That's the nature of what we're doing. What's with this separatist movement and a cult? You told me this was a vacation?
The majority of it is, but there will be portions involving the usual politics of it all.
But what about the cult and burning effigies of me?
Yes, this is something I was not aware of. I'll need to look into it to make sure that damn cat isn't just lying to stir up trouble again. If that is the case, though, I'd agree that you shouldn't make the speech despite having impenetrable security. I'd rather you not enter the city, in fact.
Security's airtight. I think I can handle at least giving a short speech. I'm a walking, talking sapient, you know.
Do not give the speech.
Yeah, I want to give the speech. Amicus remains frozen. It's clear that he desperately wants to say no. Amicus noticed Neferu down the hall, lurking about while looking at the statues, probably trying to catch fits for conversation. The wolf takes my hand and guides me through the nearest doorway next to us. It's an atrium. The sun currently at an angle doesn't allow much light in. Amicus takes me to a corner, then takes a deep breath.
All right, I know that I made promises to trust you. I won't ever tell you what to do.
But...
well, I'll still advise you, and it's just... well, have you ever had a really bad feeling about something, that something just isn't a good idea?
Yeah, all the time, Amicus.
And how do you feel about this exactly?
Amicus is looking at me carefully.
Do not give the speech.
I roll my shoulders like I'm physically feeling something out. Yeah, pretty good, I think.
What?
Alright, ready to head back?
No.
I fold my arms, tilting my head in a I knew you'd do this sort of way. Amicus huffs in annoyance. I'm teasing Amicus, but I think I know what he's talking about. If this feeling that he's talking about is what I'm hearing, and if it's the same for him.
Well, it's very hard to explain, Tibor. Well, I know it must seem terrible, the way I promised you complete agency yet question all your decisions. But this is honestly different. I am truly worried for your safety. I think it would be irresponsible of me to let you walk into a situation you don't fully understand.
I mean, you could have filled me in on some of this.
Yes, I admit there are things I should have told you. I know that you yourself are under a great amount of pressure in different ways. And I suppose I must admit that some things I just choose not to tell you because it'd only bring you misery. Well, I surely would have told you the goings-on in Lupus if I'd known about the speech and direct interaction with its people. I just want you to feel able to relax at some point. And that was going to happen until that damn bear switched up the schedule.
He's just doing his job, and I should be doing mine.
Listen.
Sorry, am I interrupting? We both look up, seeing a pharaoh lounging in the doorway in the most come-hither way I've ever seen. Which is definitely saying something.
What the hell? Don't ask idiotic questions just to make an entrance, and this is a private conversation. Did you hear Virginia?
Yes, but she asked me to listen in and offer my own advice to make sure you don't create more conflict down the road. About making a speech, I already made my decision. The fairy walks up to the sofa and lounges in it casually. Did he mention Lupus's history of assassinations? They are quite good at killing those who are instrumental to de-radicalization and alliances.
Amicus looks back at me, breathing hard. It's difficult to remember every single thing he needs to know, and...
Amicus is sputtering and stumbling through words like I've never seen before. Hey, it's okay. You want to avoid the stuff that's going to make me worry. I do that with you too, but... These are things I need to know now. I'm part of all this, and that's going to bring a lot of responsibility with it. He's right, you know. You should have at least mentioned the movement, because that directly involves him.
It doesn't involve him. They are involving him against his will.
Amicus snarls in frustration.
Damn them all!
Well, it's not really about me, though, is it? I'm just an idea to them, and they want to destroy that idea. So giving a speech could be a good idea. It's like Cassius in Lux. I could sway the less radical people if they're just able to see I'm not, I don't know, a terrible monster. Amicus sighs deeply once again, closing his eyes and keeping them closed. It's almost like he's listening for something. Parental guidance, maybe? Do you think I should give a speech in a pharaoh? The jackal seems to think for a bit. I have two answers. As your friend, no. I think there would be too much risk for me to feel comfortable you being in public anywhere, Lupus. Amicus nods quietly. From the standpoint of a political ally, though, I think it would be advantageous for us both, and I will be making public appearances there as well. That actually makes me feel a bit better. Do not make the speech! Then I'll do it. This is my duty. Shades of Mira. Amicus is quiet for a bit, then nods.
All right. Though I'm going to have a word with that bear, I do not trust the way he briefed us. I'm the Emperor and should be let know these things for announcing in ways that completely embarrass me.
It's alright, it's going to mention the security check is on track to complete sooner than thought. Oh, is there something you wanted to say to me?
Just that,
Let me give you some privacy. I'm going to visit the restrooms. Bjarni walks in as I walk out, leaving Amicus to deal with that particular situation. My mind is cluttered at the moment, though, trying to figure out several things out at once. Something about the way the parents, or whatever it was, tried to manipulate my voice. Well, it's left me feeling angry. To have that voice return when things are becoming dangerous again is too much. It only leads me to scenarios they didn't plan for, or whatever. They don't know what they're doing. For them to start making these ominous warnings again about something that could be helpful to all of us is making me more angry. I see Alex in the main hall, off to the side, reading the inscriptions on the statues. I'm going to tell him about what's been said about him, only because I feel it's the right thing to do. And because the parents tried to silence me for speaking up about it. As I walk toward him, time stops. There's a certain amount of satisfaction I feel, along with a good helping of fear. But I'm not letting them fuck things up a second time. I want real answers before this plan of theirs is put into action. Well, you've changed. you could say this is exactly what I wanted to happen. But I'll be able to get what I really want from them all that easily. To be continued. There we go. Hope you enjoyed this second part of Interea. It's getting interesting here. I'm really interested to hear what the monitor says next time. And it's nice to meet another one of the siblings as well, the bears. I like Bjarni so far. The music. I don't really like talking over this music, but I have a few things to do, including special thanks to Bastian, Marcus Breinhall, Gunnar Muller, Sindri Dragovulf, Tiger Cub, Ida Corval, Anubis Silverwind, Brandon Bradford, Dissonance, Samuto, The Beholder, David Taylor, Evan King, and Grizz, who are my top patrons, and also thanks to all my other patrons who do help support this channel. I do appreciate what you all do. And the next video I know will not be an Echo Project one. We will be going to Dawn Chorus like I said earlier, so that will be sometime in the week. And then we have London's ESOP due out at the build, I think, on Monday, so next weekend we'll be doing that. And for the rest of the month, I actually don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what's going on there. And I do have a few others in mind we haven't done yet. People do suggest them, and I am paying attention to all. Just have to figure out what might fit and what I have time to do. There's quite a bit going on this channel these days, which, considering I started off only doing Echo, is quite different. So there are things to look forward to, and I hope you're all staying cool or warm depending exactly where on the globe you are. I could do with some more cool weather here, definitely. But it's July. So like 4 or 5 weeks and we're done with summer. I think I can wait that long. Until next time, bye for now.